Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory Update 7. And on this episode, we're going to finish our starter factory and complete Phase 4 of the space elevators. So sit back, relax, and let's jump into it. So this ends up being a repeat record because I lost a bunch of footage as I was building all of the things that I needed to do. When we last left in the last episode, I still had two more tiers to complete, two more milestones, in Tier 8 to complete. And I've got them done now. And of course, I've already got the equipment built for things that we are trying to unlock for the space elevator. But I lost that footage. So we're going to review everything that I built to get us to the point where we can unlock the space elevator over here. So first things first, let's go over and have a look at our two Tier 8 milestones that we did end up completing. So the first one here was Leading Edge Productions and also Particle Enrichment. So Leading Edge Productions. Actually, you know what? No, we didn't have this done in the last episode because we still needed the fused modular frames. So what did it need? It needed heavy modular frames, aluminum casing, and nitrogen gas. So we have the nitrogen gas. It's getting plumbed in following this line here, and we'll go back and trace back where that comes from. And then of course we're feeding our fused bar, our heavy modular frames in here, as well as our aluminum casing. And the aluminum casing, just trying to think, oh yeah, it comes down from this top little skywalk here. And as you can see, I'm really starting to get quite this spaghetti around here of either pathways, walkways, conveyor systems. It's really starting to get a little bit out of hand here. So I'm kind of glad we've approached the end of this starter factory, and we can start to work on actually building some bases coming up here, or building up individual factories that are building separate modules. But so that's where our aluminum casing is coming from. Is it's feeding down one of those conveyors coming down from the skywalk, where it comes all the way over from our aluminum manufacturing plant. Let's go have a look at where the nitrogen gas is coming from. So nitrogen gas follows this pipeline, which is all getting pumped from way over here. And with the magic of editing, we find ourselves right here at our resource well pressurizer, which basically acts like a fracker that forces the gases up to these extractors that we have set up here. I only have two of them done because I do have this all overclocked to max production. So each one of these extractors is putting out 300 cubic meters of nitrogen, which gives us a line of 600 meters of nitrogen, which is way more than we actually need. The nice thing about gas production is we do not have to worry about head lift. So you'll notice on this pipeline that we've got here, there is no additional pipe pumps on there to increase our head lift, because head lift does not come in as a factor for any of the piping that's along here. So that's basically how we ended up getting our nitrogen all the way back over to see our bases way off into the distance over there. That provides our nitrogen that also ends up getting used for other things a little bit down the way here. So let's go back and have a look at the next production line. Okay, so we've made it back to our hub here, and yeah, so that pretty much wrapped up our leading edge productions, was getting that fused modular frames all getting manufactured for us. So then we moved on to particle enrichment was the next phase that we went into. And of course, particle enrichment of this, the only thing that we were making now at this point was the fused modular frame. So we had to come up with production lines for our electromagnetic control rods. We had to have multiple production lines for our heat sinks, as well as of course, the cooling systems. And then we also had to have a production line that, of course, required the cooling systems to make these turbo motors. So it was a combination of a bunch of things to be able to get this all done. So let's have a look at these individual production lines. All right, so the first thing we're going to head over to is our electromagnetic control rod station. This is where we're making our electromagnetic control rods. I had 3 assemblers set up here to be able to handle this. So it's getting in a load of, what is it, stators and AI limiters to be able to make our electromagnetic control rods. We're making about 12 per minute of these right now, and it looks like we are pretty much stockpiled up on those right now as we are producing through some of our other things. So this looks after electromagnetic control rods, which, of course, these will come in handy when we start diving into building nuclear power plants and stuff. So next was, I believe it was this production line right here, which is, nope, radio control units we already did. Must be this one. Nope, that's supercomputers. Oh, it was these 2 over here. So let's head over to this one we just looked at, which was fused modular frames. But the next one is this one here, which I believe, no, that's cooling systems. Heat sinks. Heat sinks. Heat sinks. Those were being done all the way back over at our aluminum plant. Let's go head over to, no, that was the batteries. Where was I making heat sinks at? Well, now I'm confused. Meeny, meeny, miny, mo. Where are we making our heat sinks here? Okay, let's follow the path of where they are coming from. What's being made right here? Heat sinks! Hey, look, we found them. We've got 2 more assemblers up here after being totally lost as to where things are going. But we have a look here. We are getting alclad aluminum sheeting and also copper sheeting. Of course, our copper sheeting is coming from this tower. No, the tower way off into the distance over there. Let me zoom in. That's this way. You can see all that tower of constructors over there. That's where our copper aluminum sheeting is coming from. And so that is getting pumped over this way, as well as it is alclad aluminum sheeting, which is coming down from the little skywalk where all of our aluminum components and stuff are coming from. It's coming down this way and feeding up into this side. So there is our input lines. Then, of course, these export and go either into storage or they're being consumed. And right now, if I'm looking at this, I'm pretty sure storage. Let's go have a look at our storage bin here, which is heat sinks. Most of it is obviously getting consumed then. So if we trace back where this is getting sent off to, it's going to be one of these little elevators that are shooting out of here. Oh, that's this one. It's going back this way. It's going down this way. And it goes into here, which is where we're making our cooling units. And we are just kind of keeping up with these. 18 per minute is what we need. How much are we actually making? We might actually not be making enough. If I'm looking at this, we're making 7.5. And 7.5, we're actually not. So if we take one of these, and so that's 15, I need to add 3 more to this. Let's go to 10.5 and see where that takes us. So that gets us to 18, which is the exact amount that we're consuming there. Let's bump this right up so that we have a little bit of overflow. And for that matter, you know what? I don't even think we need to have a lot in storage. What is in storage here is probably enough. So we could just save the power on that, and let's just go back to 10.5 on this. Let's go 10.5. So now we're actually making the amount that is required. Oh, that's going to make life so much easier, because I'm sure we are consuming We're making 9 cooling systems per minute based off of this production. So at 9 cooling systems per minute, they are taking off and going to other little production facilities here. So, yeah, so let's go back here and have a look at what we needed. And if we look at tier 8s. So yeah, that was the electromagnetic control rod section and the cooling system. So the next piece we needed to look at was turbo motors, of which turbo motors were also using those cooling systems. So we can trace our cooling system line here now and see, okay, where are these things going? These are going up this way, over this way, and into this manufacturer. Nope, that's making turbo rockets. Am I already totally lost? No, that's our cooling systems. Cooling systems are definitely traveling up this way. Is this requiring cooling systems as well? Oh, it is. So where are the rest of my cooling systems going? We have another production line over here somewhere that is taking these cooling units. Oh, there is too. Look at that. Oh, hey, here we are. Turbo motors. This is where our turbo motors are being made. So this is requiring 7.5 cooling systems per minute. How many did I say? We're making 9? So 7.5 of them are being consumed right here for making our turbo motors, which it looks like it is just not quite keeping up with. So hopefully now that we've got that other end kind of tweaked up a little bit, that it will start catching up a little bit. But if we look at this, this is taking radio control units, motors, and rubber. And then, of course, 7.5 cooling systems. So those other cooling systems, I got to go figure out, okay, the ones that are going into here, I wonder if we're not making enough of them. I was just blasting through. This is requiring 3, so that's a total of 10.5. Uh-oh.
We're not making enough.
We're only making 9. And this is already overclocked once. This needs to be up to 10.5. Which, water I'm not concerned about. Nitrogen I'm not concerned about. Rubber, we should be okay. 21 rubber per minute. I think that's fine. Now we're out on heat sinks again. We're at 21. So we got to go tweak up our heat sinks. Did that really say 21 per minute? Yeah, it is 21 per minute. So we're going to go back up to the heat sinks. It's a good thing we're actually going along here and reviewing this, because if I don't take care of that, it's going to take forever to get the space elevator filled. I mean, it's already going to take long enough as is. So we're 7.5, 10.5. We are at 18. That takes us to, see, 18.75. Let's throw another one in here. That takes us to 22.5. That's going to leave us with a little bit of excess. And I'm not worried. Like this way here, the 33.75 copper should actually be a total of, what would that be? 67.5 copper sheets per minute. We got plenty of that. And the 106 or 112.5 of the Alclad aluminum sheeting between these two, I think we'll be pretty close to making that. I think we'll be okay there too. So that's going to cook along for us. Well, it's a good thing we double checked that, because now we're actively making enough of the cooling units from this blender right here. So these should be cooking along, and we're not going to see any more little lag spikes here. And then that should translate into these turbo motors. Shouldn't run out. This should always say 8 now. Like it'll tick over I think we'll have 8 in here before this gets to the end. Please, 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 please. There we go. 8, which means it was able to start doing this. So as long as we get 4 more of them before it gets to the end, we're golden that way. But we should, because we're slightly overproducing. So, well, it's a good thing we went and figured that out. So that wrapped up our Tier 7 and Tier 8. But then we needed to focus on the space elevator. So let's have a look at what the space elevator needed. All right, so our space elevator, that needed assembly director systems. That also needed magnetic field generators. It also needed thermal propulsion rockets and, of course, nuclear pasta. None of these processes were being manufactured, so we needed to add all of these in there. And I believe the first one that we came to over here was our thermal propulsion rockets. Thermal propulsion rockets, that requires 2.5 modular engines per minute. It required 1 turbo motor per minute. It required 3 of the cooling systems per minute, as well as 1 modular frame per minute. So that is cranking out those. As you can see, everything is full here, so we don't have to worry about it starving for any components. And then these are all shooting directly back now. I'm not storing these because we don't really need them for anything. So they exit out of here and they run into this conveyor system. And we've actually made this a sushi conveyor system. There's multiple items that are getting fed in on the sushi line. And of course it shoots on down this way. And then shoots on down this way. And then shoots on over here. So that we can be filling our space elevator. And at the space elevator, I have set up in here, let's see, I think we started at this end. We have our programmable splitters. This is not a programmable. This one is just a smart splitter that's here. Which, that should have been a programmable splitter, if I'm not mistaken. Because why are the thermal propulsion rockets not being fed? Oh, we're full on the thermal propulsion rockets now. Nice. So that means there. Oh, I know why it's smart splittered over there. It's like, because we have our programmable splitter actually put in place here. Okay, let's have a look at this programmable splitter. It was so much easier when I had recorded all this last time because it was as we were building it. So now I'm having to try to remember exactly how we built this. So, okay, shooting out on the left side, we have nuclear pasta. Shooting out of the center, we have our thermal propulsion rockets. And then shooting out on the right side, we have our magnetic field generators and our assembly director systems. So thermal propulsion rockets, they shot out this way, came over here. They hit this smart splitter and get dumped into here first to make sure that this is full. Thermal propulsion rockets at this point, we have made 1,000 of them, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Then at that, they overflow back and shoot into this merger and then out this side, and then they zoop all the way back over here. And as you can see, because I wanted to make sure that things were working properly over here, I put this conveyor system down here to just kind of hold the line to make sure that nothing was getting shot over here that shouldn't get shot over here. We can actually connect this now. And those get dumped into the awesome sink. And those are going to get us some tickets because those things are going to be worth a fortune going into the awesome sink. So, yay for us on that. Of course, we do have a few extras of them sitting right here. And actually, since it's full, I really could just take out this line here now. Obviously, we don't need any more going into here. So they can all just shoot into the splitter and off into... You know what, if I really wanted to, I probably could just go and we'll take this out. And we'll take this out. And just to clean up this a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit, is we'll just shoot that right into there. And so now they're just bypassing splitters altogether, going into this merger, and they will shoot off into oblivion over here. which means then I have some thermal propulsion rockets in my inventory that I can get rid of. And that already got me another ticket by dumping those in there, so yay for me. Alright, the next line. Alright, the next line we made was the magnetic field generator. This required versatile framework. This required electromagnetic control rods and batteries, which we were going to have to go out and take a look at that line. So, electromagnetic control rods, we're just feeding them over from those three that are over there. They're just going to shoot on this way, come on back over here, and feed down into this. Just like so. Our versatile framework is also coming from that way as it comes from our production line from where our versatile framework is coming from. That all feeds into here. And then batteries are coming in from all the way over back at our aluminum plant. So let us go head off to our aluminum plant and have a look at, as you can see, we have a lot of batteries here. And I'm almost thinking we should have these being dumped into an awesome sink if we have this many batteries backed up. But let's go have a look at what we did over there. So first things first for the batteries is, for battery production, you need to make sulfuric acid. I'm pulling a sulfur line. There is just an impure sulfur line here that we just got cranked out. I've just taken 300 sulfur. I don't need this much sulfur, but we're pulling it, and it feeds up this way, and it feeds back, and it goes all the way back over to where our aluminum plant is. All right, so here we are at the aluminum plant, and this is where our sulfur is coming in. And it is going into this first refinery that's here. We're combining it with water to be able to make sulfuric acid. We are making 50 sulfuric acid, and it's requiring 50. So we still actually have 250 sulfur here, not being used. Not really worried about it right now. I went over to our bauxite node, and I've added in a Mark III miner over there now. And we increased this line to 780 items per minute coming through on our bauxite line. Of course, 600 items per minute of that was going into making our aluminum ingots and whatnot. That's all going for our production for our Alclad aluminum sheeting and our aluminum casing. I didn't want to take anything away from that. So the excess 180 bauxite, I have that coming up this way. It's shooting back over here. And this bauxite comes over here because we require alumina solution as well here. So we're taking another 120, which leaves us about 60 left over, and 180 water. And that is making 120 alumina solution per minute for us over here, as well as some silica. The silica that does get made from here is just getting fired out. We have an autosave. We're frozen. There we go. It's just getting fired out of this and going straight into said awesome sink. Then, of course, this does require 180 water. So we are pumping from here. Sorry, let's combine this. That needs 180 water. And this needs 50 water, which is 230 water combined. So from over here, we're getting 200 water out of our water pump. And then we are also getting 30 water per minute out of our battery manufacturing over here. Because this is taking 50 of our sulfuric acid, 40 of our alumina solution, which of course does leave us excess alumina solution that we can expand the battery production later if we need to, which we don't at this point. I'm going to just dump these batteries out of my inventory right now because I don't need them. And then, of course, some aluminum casing. Well, the aluminum casing, since it's just being made over there, is I brought a conveyor line over here. Boop, fed it in. Done deal. Aluminum casing is coming into this point. Actually, where's it coming in at? Yeah, everything feeds in on this side. So the aluminum casing's coming in from this side. Our sulfuric acid is coming into here. Our aluminum solution's coming into here. But this exits. This has waste water, so we're taking this 30 water and we're combining it back over here to make sure that we have our 230 water going into these two refineries here for making our alumina solution and our sulfuric acid. So there's no waste happening here. And then, of course, the batteries. They're shooting out of here. They're coming down this way. They hit here. If this is full, well then, off to the awesome sink they go. So that we don't end up with any stoppage over here. This is just going to continue making our Fix-It coupons for us and getting us to the point where we can get all of those trophies. So that is all flying out of there. So that takes care of batteries, and that took care of the what was that? That was like the magnetic field generator. So next, let's go have a look at the next component we had to make. Actually, before we look at the next component, we should probably have a look at what we're doing with that magnetic field generators. They're coming out of this. They're coming out of this manufacturer, all nicely made. They're coming up into our sushi belt here. They're shooting down this way and down this way to our very first programmable splitter that we have dropped in production. And we look, magnetic field generators are shooting off to the right here. So they come whoop, this way. Magnetic field generators output to the left. So the magnetic field generators are shooting into here. This programmable splitter is also sending assembly director systems straight out the center, as well as any overflow goes out the center as well too. So once the magnetic field generators get too much, they should overflow and out to this direction. Then we hit this next programmable splitter, of which the overflow continues out through the center. So then, of course, that all feeds back and dumps into our awesome sink over there. But we're not dumping any of them yet because we need 4,000 magnetic field generators. Well, we've only made 986. I've got a lot of AFK time of this computer just running with the game open in the background, making these. It's going to be a bit. All right, the next component. All right, the next thing that we're making is nuclear pasta. But to get to nuclear pasta, we needed to make a pressurized conversion cube. Pressurized, let's try that in English. A pressurized confusion. Wow, my mouth is completely broken. Okay, pressure conversion cube requires a fused modular frame and 2 radio control units to combine to make our pressure conversion cube. They shoot out this end, they go back this way, and they feed into said particle accelerator. Particle accelerator is combined with copper powder. Well, our copper powder is getting made right here, which is 300 copper ingots, makes 50 copper powder. 300 more copper ingots per minute, getting our 50 copper powder to give us our total of 100 copper powder coming into here, of which it's still starving a little bit to be able to do this. And I have 600 copper ingots per minute coming into this because they are all coming from, well, I found a copper node kind of way off into the distance there, so I brought the copper ore over here. Oh, I know why it's not working. Half of them, half of these are not programmed to make copper ingots. So that's why we're starving so much on our copper, is we didn't put recipes on these. And somebody's going to leave a comment going, hey, you know, you can do something by click something and copy and paste the recipe. I don't know how to do it. So that's why I'm just clicking on each one of those and selecting a recipe. I've tried to figure out how to, and I gave up. So either way. Hey, look, now we actually have 600 copper ingots per minute flying out of here. Which means this should start consuming, oh wow, these aren't even filled yet. They don't even have any copper in them yet. So like this one is, that's got 100 copper in it. That's got 100 copper in it. That one's full. This one is filling. So bit by bit, these machines are filling up. That's the only kind of downside, is it does take a little bit for these machines to balance out. But that's going to make a massive difference now when we look back at our copper powder production, which is going to improve our nuclear pasta, how fast we're making nuclear pasta getting dumped into our space elevator. Because we just essentially doubled our production. We were only making one of these every 4 minutes. Now we're making one every 2 minutes. So, I mean, that's a step up in the right direction. Hey, look, we actually have a full inventory of copper powder sitting over here. Yay for us. This is finally going to be working as intended. So, it's a good thing we are flying around and checking this. And I just totally wasted a inhaler. Oh, well. Should have had a cup of coffee instead. All right, so that nuclear pasta then comes over. It's fed into our sushi conveyor, running down here and down here to our first programmable splitter. Where nuclear pasta, it shoots out the left. It comes down this way. Onto this one. Comes into this smart splitter. It basically goes, go right. And when you're done going right, go straight. And if we look in here, we've only made... that should be at least double that number right now. We should be well over 600 of our nuclear pasta, and we are nowhere. Yeah, well, that's a thing. At least we only have to make 1,000 of that. And, I mean, we're dealing with 4,000 items of each of these, so we've got some time. We're okay. Then when that does eventually fill up, it's going to shoot back this way and off into the awesome sink to get us some more of those coupons. All the coupons. We get all of them. We're up to 54 there now. Combined with our 162, 172. Where did I put them? Oh, 192 that we've got sitting over here right now. So, yeah, we're cruising along. We're getting there. We're going to get our trophies. All right. Next was the Assembly Director System, which is like an odd name. I don't even know what to say about that. Nope, that's over here. Whoop. Assembly Director System. Project part number 6 ships with the space elevator to complete the phase of your project assembly. This extremely fast and precise computing system is specifically designed to direct the project assembly phase. Does any of that make sense to anybody? I don't think it makes sense to anybody. That's just a whole lot of words. That's all that is. Anyhow, that looks like it's done by assemblers, so let's go find where we put those assemblers. Wow, and it's not even like multiple assemblers. It's just one. We're making 3/4 of them per minute. That's really sucky. But either way, it's adaptive control units, 1.5 per minute, and supercomputers. Can I boost that at all? I'm just curious. Where am I making said supercomputers? Are they right? Nope. Are they right? Nope. Are they right? Yep. Okay. We are making 1.875, so we're not even really making... Oh no, how many did it say you needed? So we could double this. Because I think that's the only thing actively using supercomputers. If I look at the supercomputer line that's coming out of here, it's hitting this, going this way, and then the rest shoot off into storage. So I could double this production. Adaptive control units. How many of those are we making? 1. We're making 1. And I need 1.5. Well, now. How much do I have to overclock this? And am I making enough of everything to be able to do that? Heavy modular frames. We're basically going to be taking half of this and adding it to it. So it's going to be 1.5 heavy frames per minute, 1.5 computers per minute, 7.5 circuit boards, And it's like 10 3/4. No, 11 1/4 of automated wiring. Well, let's overclock it right now. I'm going to throw this in here, and we're going to convert this to 1.5. Which is exactly what one power shard will do. So that's going to take us to... Am I making enough computers now? We got to go through now and figure out, am I making enough of everything to be able to get this so that it's producing as much as it should be? Okay. So, and this is all... Wow, this was all just to make one. And we're only making half... No, we're probably at half per minute is what we were doing because we weren't making enough of these. Alright, so this requires 1.5 computers per minute. How many computers am I actually making? Where do my computers come from? They are coming from here. We are making 3.75 and 3.75, which is a total of 7.5. So what all do the computers get used for? So let's go back and follow this line. They shoot off this way. So computers going here. 1.5 computer. Now that we have that overclocked, then they continue down, and they're getting used right here, which is, we're at 1.5, so that's 3. That's 4 computers. And then they're getting used here. That is 7.75 computers now. However, we can underclock this to, let's just take it to 1 per minute. See, now we only need 2. We're golden. We're making enough computers now. Just like that, we're making enough computers. Because, I mean, this whole thing was gauged off of the 1.5 adaptive control units. While we're doing that now, we're still making half or a quarter of a supercomputer more than our requirements. So, we're golden. This is now going to function at 100%. We're going to make 0.75 of these per minute. And, of course, those all shoot back on our sushi board. Coming back this way. They hit this smart splitter. They continue off this way, and it comes down to this one and feeds in. So this number should start improving now that we're making a reasonable amount of them. So at this point, it is 100% a waiting game for everything to finish basically building. And then we'll be able to get this launched. So I will sit and wait. Of course, this is a matter of seconds for you as we transition this. But I will sit and wait before we send off our completed space elevator line. Alright, after a ton of hours of chilling AFK, waiting for our production lines here for the space elevator to load up, we are finally there. In fact, I have removed the conveyors that were feeding into the space elevator. Everything now is just getting dumped straight into the awesome sink over here, which is now, we got 393 Fix-It coupons, and if we run over here and add them up with what we've got, that gets us 393, so we're basically 585-ish of the coupons so far. So we're well on our way to getting to that 1,000 point so we can get the golden nut, and then we just work. We'll work. I figure what we'll do is we'll go to Fix-It Special through Fix-It Special. We're going to get the golden nut first, and then we'll work our way backwards to the other ones, because this is the one that's obviously going to take us the longest to do. But yeah, this is all loaded up. So we've got 4,000 of the assembly director systems. We have 4,000 magnetic field generators. We have 4,000 thermal propulsion rockets. 1,000 thermal propulsion rockets and 1,000 nuclear pasta. That is loaded. It is now sealed and sent, which that now completes our factory. Our starter factory, the space elevator phase 4, is unlocked, and those items are sent off to wherever. I have no idea what they're doing with them, why they need thousands of thermal propulsion rockets and assembly directors. Clearly we're making some kind of like Death Star up there that's going to blow up this planet. I don't know. But that is all sent off. So what do we do from here? And I have actively been working on kind of calculating what our next steps are. And so the next steps of our factory this one is the starter factory. The starter factory is basically done. It's doing what we needed to do. Now it's time to start focusing on breaking out these little bits into their own individual factories with a specific goal in mind. And what my goal is, I had a look on the Fixmas calculator, the Satisfactory calculator, and did a search. How many nodes of uranium do we have out there? And we have 3 normal nodes and 1 impure node, which gives us a total, if overclocked with Mark III miners, 2,100 uranium ore per minute. So I want to turn that into all 2,100 into a nuclear power plant. So we're going to build, in the coming episodes, our ultimate goal is going to be, and you can kind of see off into the distance here. Let's switch over to H. There we go. And then, we'll go to camera mode. Off into the distance here, you can kind of see I've laid out the area, and I've gone and I've marked out where the world border is out there. This is where I'm going to plan on putting the nuclear power plant. You know how many reactors nuclear power plant with 2,100 uranium ore is? That is 67, 250% overclocked reactors, and 1 reactor running at 100%. To produce almost 80 gigawatts of power. Which is, that creates like just about 500 gigawatts of power. Of which all the services that we're going to need in our factories and whatnot as we build is going to end up being about 80 megawatts worth of factories to support that. Give or take 5 to 10 gigawatts, because some of the calculations are a little bit off. So if we look at, let's turn this back on. We look at what we're currently doing. We're only doing like 36 gigawatts right now. I've been saying megawatts, haven't I? It's 500 gigawatts. And it's going to take like 800 or 80 gigawatts to be able to run all that. So just about 500 gigawatts of power is what's going to come off of those nuclear power plants. And that's going to end up being about 80 gigawatts worth of machineries that we've got to build over and above what we're already using. And we're using, our max consumption is just about 24 gigawatts of power right now. So everything you see here is 24 gigawatts of power. But this doesn't include what's going to be needed for the new reactor. So the new nuclear power plant. So, basically, between what our starter factory is running and all the new factories we end up building, we're going to be pushing that 110, 120 gigawatts of consumed power. But there's a bunch of things that we're going to end up taking care of before all that really jumps into place. And you can already see there's some teasers off into the distance. I've been building some things kind of off into the distance there. I'm not going to show you what those are yet, but they're actually, they don't look like much from out here. But for me, in a step in the direction of building actual factories instead of just running conveyors everywhere, they're actually pretty neat up there. So I was playing around with the Blueprint Designer, and yeah, so there's a little spoiler for you for things coming to the future here. But with that said, guys, we got lots of stuff coming on future episodes here as we move away from the starter playthrough and start moving back into a endgame type playthrough for our Satisfactory Update 7 world. So with that all said, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I look forward to seeing you now that we're in the new year. Happy 2023. And yeah, with that all said, guys, don't forget to reach down, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, leave a comment on this video, and yeah, follow me over on Instagram and Twitter at TerraceDWDC. With that said, we'll catch you in the next one. Later. Bye-bye.